Hello and welcome to the final part in our Art Critics Guide to Dice Masters. It's Spug here and I'm with James. Hello, James.
Hello, Spug. How are you
How are
doing?
you going? I'm all right, thanks. Yes, so let's get straight into it too. You've picked your top five pieces of art. What comes in at number five?
At number five, I have to get my fingers sorted here. I have Throne Brick.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
And I am also going to click on the original artwork. This was I think you got the details right. It was an alternate cover by Frank Cho, maybe?
Frank Cho, very good. Yeah, it's from Harley Quinn issue 9. And, well, yeah, James, tell us what you like about this image.
Well, the truth is, I haven't read the comic, and that's actually the case with several of these. To my never-ending shame, but I've got the original art there, which is a little bit better definition. I just like that on the card. It really embodies a brick, doesn't it? It's almost like a 3D brick coming at you, and it's as if you would put the card down and go, "There's a brick in your face." Um, I think it's great, and I think it goes with Harley Quinn very nicely. And although you can't see it on the card, I imagine there must be some sort of interesting story behind the cover art because it's
Yeah,
actually a brick from the yellow brick road that she's chucking at you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I like that on every level, and I probably should make an effort to read the comic.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool the fact that that story is kind of untold. I wonder whether maybe there could have been licensing issues, possibly from a WizKids perspective, with having something from the Wizard of Oz
Hmm.
on a Dice Masters card, and that's why they cut it off. But it kind of, when you see the rest of that image, it really tells a far more interesting story of her chucking that brick out of the yellow brick road.
Yeah,
with,
yeah. Do go and check out the show notes. We'll put the information there, and go and check out the story
yeah,
because you would never have guessed it from just looking at the card.
no, exactly. All right, that's number five. What have
I've
you
actually
got?
got just before we move on. Sorry to interrupt you. I
Yeah,
wanted to say in terms of cards which represent, like I feel like this really represents brickdom, so to speak. And there's another card whose artwork is maybe not the best, but I really feel like it sort of represents what it is, and that is I'll just get to it. It's Ring of Winter.
yes.
It's a foil card from Tomb of Annihilation, and it was kind of necessary on the sort of dragon team. And of course, I didn't pull it. I think I pulled the horrible monastery super rare, and no other super rare when I got my display. And I was most disappointed. But in the end, I managed to find it. I think it was on Big Orbit Cards or something. And it was. I don't like paying money for cards. I think I've only done it really for Hellblazer and Nick Fury patch and this one, and it was about, I don't know, 15, 20 euros. And when I finally got it, it was like holding a valuable object in my hand. So I really felt there was some sort of identity. I'm not very good at expressing these things, as you'll see in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But like with Throne Brick, I think there was a real nice identity between the Ring of Winter and the valuable shiny thing in your hand, which was the card.
So that actually was your precious, was it, James?
It was my precious, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, shall we move on to number four? What have you got in
I've
that
got, well, I can't remember, but I'm going to press these buttons and find out.
slot?
There we go. Villainous Pact.
Yeah.
Another story I haven't read. I promise you I have read some of these stories, but not this one. I just really like the art on this one. I think it's a really fresh, it feels like a really fresh take. I've always been a big fan of cross hatching and stuff.
Mm.
It feels like a really fresh take on Loki. And I've got very little more to say about it other than that it looks great. Tell us where it's from, Spud, because you've got that information.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's the Mighty Thor issue 2, a variant cover from 2015 by an artist called Artyom Trakhanov,
Blimey.
and apparently tells the story of part of the story of Jane Foster picking up the Mjolnir and inheriting the mantle of Thor. So it's kind of very appropriate to what might be coming in the MCU.
And a much better picture than all Villainous Pacts that had gone before and all that have come since.
There's been quite a few to choose from.
There have indeed.
Should we move on to number three?
Yes, number three again will be a surprise for me. It will be oh, it's Professor X.
Yeah.
The image I've put the common there because I never had the rare. I would say with all of these cards, they're perhaps the Loki one more than anything is just because I thought it was a beautiful piece of art. I think a lot of the others, and this must have been true for your video, Spug, and for Ben and Peter's. They're just sort of meaningful pieces of art rather than being the best. It's not like we're obviously, listeners and watchers, the titles of these videos referring to art critics is meant to be tongue in cheek. If that wasn't clear to anyone by now, we're not. But I really like this. I just like him doing the Professor X thing with his temple and that, and I liked it so much that I bought the factory. No, I created Victor Khayyam. Jesus, that makes me old. Where's it gone? Ooh, hang on. There, it's back.
There it is.
I back in the day when the Retrobox card maker made making cards much easier to use than trying to use Photoshop, as I don't have the technical chops of Peter in that regard. It was back when we started up James and Zach, and I needed to make some imagery for, and you may recognise the glasses at the bottom, which was used as an icon for quite a long time for James and Zach.
Yes.
And I made one of these also for Zach, I think. And so I posed. Yeah, I did a selfie. I don't do many selfies, but it can't be a selfie. Somebody must have taken that because
unless you got a third hand.
I must have forced my wife or daughter into doing it. And I've used it for all sorts of things since. I think I use it for advertising for my language school as well.
Do you?
Look into my eyes. You really want to do an English course. So I've got a relationship with that picture. I think we probably should move on before I blather anymore.
We should, although I kind of feel as if you've gone for mask energy then, I wonder whether you might be a bit more of a shield energy.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think I was guided by the existing dye images. I didn't really feel like messing with those.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, we should just say that that original image is from, as the cover said, Mythos X-Men from 2006, and the cover artist was Paulo Rivera.
Oh, I should flick back to that. There you go. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, very good. Okay, well, let's move on to number 2. James, what have you chosen?
I don't know. Again, press these buttons and we'll find out. Aha. Okay. Yes. Relentless. When I saw the full image for this, I have to say I thought perhaps twice about including this because it is Mystique's bum. But I would point out that it's not particularly visible on the.
That's not in the card.
On the original card, and I just find it really evocative. I think it's a really interesting perspective. I think, I'm a little kid really, and I've always liked guns. Seeing Wolverine in the background, and it was one of the first cards I think that I became familiar with. It's now banned, in fact, and has been for quite some time. But this was a big part of the game in the early days, and I really like the perspective, and I like the combination of colours. I think the red in the background and the blue and white of Mystique's outfit, smashing. I think it's really good.
Yeah,
again.
Very good. It's from 2003 edition of Wolverine number 64, and it's by an artist called Ron Garney.
Lovely, well done, Ron.
Very good. So, should we see what's in your top spot, James? We have a bit of a drum roll. What's coming up?
I might have cheated slightly. Okay, so the top spot I think is actually occupied by it's by one person, but more than one card. Whilst I haven't read many of these comics, I have read what's coming next, and it is my favourite. I used to read a lot of comics as a kid, and then I had a massive break when I came to Slovakia because it just wasn't available here. And then a couple of years ago, during the summer, I went back and sort of read a lot of the major comic arcs that I'd missed, and I thoroughly enjoyed. It was the sort of transition from Secret Invasion and then through to the Dark Reign. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know that the next card is When I Was Born.
Hey.
Oh, I love a bit of Normie. The Dark Reign is a fantastic arc, which you should just go and read. I shan't spoil it for you, but Normie sort of rises to ascendancy, really. Sort of takes over from Tony Stark and converts Shield into Hammer. Is that how it goes? I think that's how it goes. And sort of puts together his own versions of the major superhero teams, but of course they're dark. So you have the Dark Avengers, the Dark X-Men, and he's just a Fruit Loop in the nicest possible way. Well, actually, in the most horrible possible way. It's a great story, and it ends well. The Dark Reign, the last bit of the Dark Reign, I think, it goes into. In fact, it says, look, next issue, Siege. He has the hubris to invade. What's it called where Thor lives? Because it's
yes,
there.
That place, yeah.
Two Marvel fans, and neither one of us can remember. That is Asgard. There you go.
Oh, good grief!
Because Asgard has been relocated in the comics to floating over somewhere in Oklahoma or something. Somewhere in the. I'm just showing my geographical ignorance now, but somewhere in the middle of America. And Norman Osborn has the hubris along with the Sentry, his sort of attack dog, to launch an invasion, a siege of Asgard. And just read it, check it out. And clearly, Norman Osborn is most famously known as something else. And during the course of this arc, I've got to get my buttons right now. Okay. I think first we have this image, which is something I created using an Andy Warhol image generator on the internet when I wanted an image for modern. Get it? Modern for Dice Fight.
Very clever.
Yeah, thanks. But Norman Osborn clearly is someone else. Don't call me Gobby. Well, during the course of Dark Reign, the Dark X-Men go into his psyche, I think. They're sort of inside his mind, and they're investigating. And you see a pair of golden eyes there at the bottom. I'm glad it's a mistake, though, and not a rescue attempt. I mean, I'd hate to have to be indebted to those I'm about to kill! When I read that comic, I didn't know what was coming at all. I read that comic, I turned the page, and there was the original Gobby artwork, which was never my favourite card. I never had it for the longest time. But I just opened the comic book, and it was like, whoa, that is something else. I mean, it's not even a very nice image, particularly, is it? But it's so that's Gobby inside Norman's head. He's sort of pretending to be all normal and that, but he's not.
No, and that is a great image. That's from Dark X-Men 4. The artist was Leonard Kirk. I mean, it's definitely a kind of iconic interpretation of his of Green Goblin character, who obviously has been around like forever, hasn't he? I mean, Spider-Man's nemesis since pretty much the start of the Spider-Man story. So he's been certainly a long and enduring character. We should just mention that the previous image that you were showing of Normie was from New Avengers number 60, 2005, and the artist was Stuart Immonen.
Yes, as usual, all those will be in the show notes. Do check them out and go and read these comics because they're really good.
Finally, James, what else did you want to mention?
I've got a little bonus for you because I'm doing the slideshow and I can slip things. I can slip things in and you can't stop me. So there was one more card. It's this one. It's Dark Side. Okay, I'll leave Gobby there so you can admire that. But this is by no means my favourite art. But back in the day when I was doing stuff with Zach Pope, in fact, do you know what? I think it might even have been before we started doing stuff together, making YouTube videos. Zach first came to my attention as a person who was attaching googly eyes to Dice Masters cards. And he did a few. I know he did Red Eyes Black Dragon, for example. That stands out. But the most brilliant one was this one. Well, I think it speaks for itself, so I'll just reveal it. Come on. With the googly eyes, that is certainly amongst my favourite pieces of artwork. Without, not so much.
Yeah, there's not really anywhere we can go after that, is there?
Just to say thank you, Zach, for sharing that with the world.
And thank you, James, for bringing it back to everybody's attention. Well, that is your top 5 plus some other bonuses, James. You certainly got more than the rest of us there, I think. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found that interesting. And we would love to hear about what are some of your favourite art. So do get in touch. You can send us an email, hello@dmunited.eu, or just visit the Dice Masters United Facebook page.
Or even leave a comment under this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. I'm getting good at this.
You are. Yeah, you're turning into such a pro. Well, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye.